Hello, everyone. This is Michele Bradford with the Real Conversations, Real Motivation podcast. I am coming to you guys right now with another episode. So we are on episode 14. But let me tell you a little bit more about this podcast. If you've never been here before, let me just tell you. My goal with this podcast is to dive deep into real conversations of life and share powerful testimonies. I am your host, Michele Bradford, and every week, Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will bring you refreshing topics, provide you with practical motivation. I hope that this podcast offers you a dose of positivity to help you navigate life by becoming more aware of life challenges and how to navigate. So the goal is for us to heal, for us to be more subconscious and conscious about things around us and being an advocate for ourselves and for our families. And so today's episode, it really touches home for me. It's all about consumer awareness and how you handle complaints and recalls. This has been on my heart for like a couple of weeks now. It just keeps coming up. And so I want to talk about it because having real conversations about consumer recalls, like our cars, about food, about different toys and different things like your, children's toys and furniture and things like that. It's really important that we become more in tune with what is going on in our household, the things that we're purchasing, the things that we are, we honestly, we take our life in our hands just going to the grocery store buying groceries. We take our life in our hands every time we get behind a wheel of a car. And it's almost like a trust thing. We have to trust these automakers to to keep us safe. And I can tell you in my own personal experience, I had a family member that passed away due to a situation where her car flew off a bridge. We never got any kind of closure. They got away with it because we couldn't prove what it was, even though we knew what it was. So, with that being said, I just kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit more about this because I think it's important for us to advocate for ourselves and for our families. We need to do a little bit more, being more conscious. We're walking through life. We are trusting. We're trusting these manufacturers. We're trusting the people who are growing our food and the people who are butchering animals and doing hamburger meat and beef. And we're trusting these people that are making our hair products and the people that are making all these different things. And there is a lot of stuff out there, products that we use every day that is not regulated by the FDA. So today, this is something that I really want to get back into really heavily as far as consumer awareness and our rights as humans, as human beings, as adults, as family members, as sisters and brothers and mothers, that we advocate for ourselves and we start really like talking about this and sharing this. So if you could share out this podcast with other people, um, I put two websites in the body of this video. So if you want to go back to it later, one of them it is one of the links is for the NHTSA or safercar.gov. And it is about investigations, it's about recalls of different things like your car, um, like children's furniture, different things, manufacturer things that you can go to and you can look up your vehicle. You can look up different items. You can also go to Consumer Report. It's a Consumer Report website. Or if you want to check, about recalls and outbreaks for food, consumer alerts, I also put that website, that link in the description as well. So the last thing I would like for you guys to do is make sure that you are subscribed to my Real Conversations, Real Motivations podcast on YouTube. or it's going to be RCRM on Instagram. On Facebook, it's Michele Bradford. I also have several other channels, but I would like to have people go over to my YouTube channel and go ahead and subscribe, because eventually everything is going to be just shift to two different places. It's going to be on my Facebook and also on my YouTube and nowhere else. So anyway, so let's get started. Let's talk about these recalls for a second because, excuse me. So when we talk about vehicle recalls, a lot of people, when you buy a brand new car, that car is registered to you, is registered to your address. So you're going to get the recalls from the manufacturer. Now, are you getting those recalls timely? Probably not. I can tell you that it took one manufacturer 10 years regarding a recall, and my mother got the recall 1 year after my sister's death, or almost a year and a half after she died. We sued. We didn't get any money. They got away with it because they let it go on for 10 years. So if you don't know there's a recall and somebody dies, you've given up the vehicle. You think it's just an accident. So the vehicle is no longer, you have nothing, you have no way of proving that that recall is what caused the accident. So it's kind of one of those loopholes where these people got away. They got away with murder. They got away with people being mangled and disabled. They got away with a lot of stuff. Now, they did have to pay some people, but those people had to show so many different documentation. They had to have the black box. They had to have the car. They had to have the report from the police department. So there was a lot of stuff that they had to do, and they did not pay out hardly anything to the people that had died way before this recall happened. So anyway, my sister only had her car 6 months before she died, brand new. So the other concern that I want to just express before we start talking about the recalls is that there are a lot of people that buy used vehicles. And because your vehicle is used, you are not getting the recalls, the notifications. So this website that I'm sharing with you right now, this website is going to be one that you actually can go to and you can look up your vehicle. So that website is NHTSA. It's the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and it's part of the U.S. Department of Transportation. So you can go to this website, and and they have a lot of resources over there. So I really recommend you to go over there and check it out when you get an opportunity. So the NHTSA reviews complaints, they conduct various investigations, and they manage the safety recalls for vehicles and vehicle equipment. So there's several quick links here that when you go to that website, you can actually look at the investigations and recalls. So after my sister died, I knew something happened to her. So the first place I went to is here. I went here looking to see how many people had complained, and they had complaints going back for years and years. People that said they got mangled, people who said that their cars were destroyed, people that were in jail for vehicular homicide for this particular vehicle. And there's like 4 or 5 vehicles that were included in this recall. And so let's talk about it for a second. So, first of all, if you want to look up or do a search for a recall, because this place here is going to be the fastest place you'll be able to go to and find that recall. For example, I had a brand new car that had a recall. I was able to go here and see the recall before I even got the notification. Do you know it took the manufacturer 3 months, 3 to 6 months to get me that notification? So going to this website is going to help you to be able to advocate for you, for your family. Go look up the vehicle. Go look up your vehicle. Don't just depend on, even if you got a brand new car, don't depend on the manufacturer to send you those recalls, because they're going to send it to you when they get ready. It took the manufacturer 10 years, when they knew that people were dying, for them to send out that notification. So let me just tell you, go to this website and go advocate. Look up your mamas, your brothers, your sisters, your children, your husband. Go look up your vehicle and see if there are any issues. Or if you're going to get your car worked on and there's a problem with your vehicle and you have an issue with your vehicle, place a complaint on this website, because the way that the recalls are made is based off of your complaint. So if you don't make a complaint, the longer if you and everybody else just wait and don't make that complaint, the longer it's going to take for that vehicle to be recalled and that item to be fixed. A lot of times it's a nuisance, but guess what? Airbags are necessary. If you hit another car and your airbags don't go off, you die. That's a malformation. That's a malfunction. That is a recall. If your ignition switch, if your key falls out of the ignition and you can't steer the vehicle, you can't let the window down, you can't push the brake, you're basically in a vehicle that all these many different ton vehicle, and it's a death trap. So there's so many things out there that we need to really look at and say, you know what, I need to really be more conscious about these recalls. So all you need is either your license plate, your VIN number, your vehicle identification number. And if you don't have either one of those, that's fine. You can do the vehicle year, make, and model. Now, the more you can narrow it down with your VIN number, your plate, that's great. But you can also look it up by the year, the make, and the model. Also, when you're looking up consumer things on this website, you can also look up car seats, tires, and other equipment. And we'll look at the other equipment here in a second. Also, you can look at recall information by the date and the product type. You can look it up by the NHTSA ID number. There's also an interactive dashboard that you can filter recall. So you can go in there and click that, which is what I'm going to do. And then they also have an annual recall report. They have an annual recall completion rate. They have a completion rate by model. And then they also have recall completion rate on their interactive dashboard. So, there's a lot of information here. We're not going to go through all of it. I'm going to just go directly to the source. I'm going to pull up the interactive dashboard. I'm not going to pull it up on the podcast. I'm going to let you guys do that. But actually, I might do that. Let me see if I can get this on the screen. If I can get it on the screen, you guys, I'll pull it up. But I would really, truly recommend you to go over and look at this website directly. And if you're on Instagram, I don't have it linked over there. So go over to my YouTube channel, Real Conversation, Real Motivation, and you'll be able to find the link over there. Or I can post it later after this live stream is completed. I can post it in the comments. So either way it goes, they will be there available to you at a later time. All right. So let's look at this for a second. I am. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Hopefully you can see that okay. I don't know if you can. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right. Here we go. I'm waiting for the system. Give me 1 second. And if this doesn't work, I was going to do this earlier and I did not. All right. Let's not worry about that. Let's get back to it. All right. So in the recall by manufacturer, one of the ones that they have listed here, they have General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, Forest River, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes, Honda, Nissan. So they have multiple here. So in this interactive, that you may not find everything you're looking for, but the first thing I'm going to do is General Motors has the most recalls out of all of the vehicles here. They have 1,674 recalls here. So when you put in General Motors, basically over in the filter, you're going to look up what kind of recall are you looking for? What issues are you looking for? So there's all these different recalls that are here, these different items, components that you can look up: airbags, child car seats, electrical, engine, all kinds of stuff. So one of the ones I'm going to look up is airbag. So we're going to look up airbag and we're going to apply that. And then how many airbags? There's 113 airbag issues right now. And the one that I'm looking up is for passenger. So when I look up the passenger airbag sensory issue, there's only one recall. And so basically you can go through and it'll tell you the recall was December 17th, 2010. And it was for airbags for multiple vehicles. And they corrected it by allowing you to go into the actual manufacturers to get that worked out. So this is going to be very helpful if you put in your vehicle. So I'm going to go back and actually, instead of looking it up the way that I looked it up, I'm going to look it up by the actual vehicle make and model. And so I'm just going to put in the year 2008 Cobalt, which was what my sister was driving. So hold on just a second. Let me look that up. All right. So I'm doing a search. Okay, it's not letting me pull that up. Let me try Cobalt Chevy. I should put in Chevy Cobalt. How about that? Let's see what comes up. So because of, I put in the actual car, but it's asking me for the VIN number. And so I don't have that information anymore, but you can look it up by certain license plates and also the VIN number, but I don't have that information. So the make is Chevy and the model is Cobalt. So I don't even know if that's still here. So they don't even make a Cobalt anymore, but I can tell you there's a lot of people driving that vehicle on the road, which is making me a little bit concerned because why isn't that car coming up? So anyway, so if you have the vehicle information or you have the license plate information, you should be able to look that up. So I'm going to try and look up my car and see if I can find it. Yeah. So I'm having some issues with this website today. I don't know if they're having issues or whatever, but you should be able to go here and look up any vehicle. It talks about road safety and risky driving and recalls and all kinds of stuff. So that's one of the things that I wanted to come and talk to you about. One of the main things I wanted to talk to you about, but also I wanted to talk to you about how to protect yourself. So doing research of the recall and finding out how to address it, searching the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. If you're buying a used car with no repaired recalls, consider resolving it as soon as possible after purchasing. So one of the things that I saw over the years is that there was a gentleman who bought a car just like my sister from a used car lot. He was a father. He had just bought the car. He had saved his money up. He paid cash for it. He drove it off the lot, and then he ended up dying, not even a few weeks later. And so, I don't know if these used car lots are aware of what's going on or if they just don't care. I don't really know, but people are buying cars through audit, what do you call those, auctions and things like that. So you really got to really protect yourself and be aware when you're buying used vehicles. So please, before you buy a vehicle, please make sure that you are, looking it up. Look at the vehicle. What do you call it? I can't think of what it's called right now, but looking it up to see if there's any recalls, or there's a report that you can get about that vehicle if it was in a car accident or things like that. So because we put our life in our hands every time we get behind the wheel of a vehicle. Everybody's worried about, somebody with DUIs and text messaging. Those are major issues as well. But having a malformation in that vehicle while you're driving it, that's why they say a lot of people say, I don't like to fly. But we have more accidents than we ever do flying. And so we have to be aware of what's going on every time we go get in a car. We don't know that car is a ticking time bomb, but doing everything that you possibly can do to stay aware for you and your family is important. So, the next thing I want to talk about before I get off of here is I want to talk to you about food recalls, because there's recalls of all kinds. Anything and everything has recalls. And so the thing is that in the United States, we got a lot of problem with food. We have a lot of problems with things being put in foods that people don't know about. When they say natural, when it says natural flavors, it doesn't mean that it's natural flavors for real. It can be bugs and all kinds of stuff. They put bugs in our food, because some of them make they make really nice coloring or dye, and that's considered natural because it's a bug. So it's natural. So being aware of what's going on with your food, being aware that what's going on in your life, so food protection, and making sure, that you're aware of what's going on with food recall. So that's another thing. As a consumer, it's very important that we stop walking blindly, eating stuff, doing stuff, kind of seeing it. Now that we got the internet, you should be looking up this stuff. You can go to Chat GPT and say, hey, can you tell me about the recalls in my state? Can you tell me about the recalls in my county? Can you tell me about the car recalls in my, there's too many AI things that are out there. Yes, I know a lot of you hate AI. I know a lot of you are scared of it, but there's a lot, those can be great tools that you can use. When you are out here trying to figure some stuff out. Do you know that I used Chat GPT to write a business plan the other day? I used Copilot to create that helps me create good professional emails every day. I use Copilot at work to make presentations. If I'm looking for a folder, something in a folder, and I can't find it, I can ask Chat GPT to go find it. And the last thing that really, really, really made me love working with AI is because I don't know a lot about Excel. I'm really bad at it. I've tried to learn it, but using Copilot, I was able to create formulas, and I was able to do some comparisons and some analysis using Copilot. It gave me everything I needed, all the instructions on what I needed to do to finish a task by doing an analysis. So if you are, a person like me to have brain injury and you have a lot of issues, and you might not have the right words to say, but you know what you want to say, you can use AI as a benefit. I know I'm getting off course, but you can also ask AI about the food recalls in your area, the consumer recalls in your area. Are there any things that are going on that's being recalled in your city? There's been a lot of meat recalls lately, a lot of vegetable recalls lately, ice cream, different stuff. I mean, it's really scary that the food that we are paying for right now is so freaking expensive. Who can afford to go and buy food, and then it's in your refrigerator, or you've cooked it, and then now you have recalls? But do you know there's a lot of people that get sick from these recalls? A lot of people that get really, really sick and die from some of these recalls. So there's different degrees of going on with with these food recalls. So they have contamination, allergens, foreign objects like glass and plastics, And so by staying informed and practicing safe food handling and knowing the symptoms of foodborne illnesses, is going to help you be able to navigate some of the recalls with confidence, and so you can minimize your health risks. We don't do enough. We just definitely don't do enough when it comes to food recalls. But there's an article that I was kind of looking at from Forbes. What is the FDA recalls in 2024? And what is it teaching us about food and consumer trust? So we are in a culture where there's a lot of recalls. We're eating, we shop, we dine out. We do all of these things in trust. We eat at restaurants that we know that they got issues. You go to that Chinese place or that Hispanic restaurant down the street from your house for years. It ain't that clean on the inside, but they got really good food. You don't know, McDonald's, all these different places that, they have food that are really catered to children, and children love it. And we're feeding it to our children. We have to be conscious. We are in a day and time right now that everything is happening, and we got to figure out, we got to go, okay, you know what? I have to stop trusting these places because they're selling me food, but I'm putting my trust in them. Is that temperature correct on that meat? Is their cooler cool enough? Do they have mice? Do they have roaches? Are these people wearing gloves? All of these different things that we put into their hands, and we're trusting them. And that's the same thing for when we manufacturers who are creating, the different crackers and the chips and the cereals and the vegetables and the meat and all of that. We put our trust in all of these places that hope and pray that when we go to the grocery store, that we're not buying stuff that is going to make us sick. And it's so sad that we just don't know. People are dying from this. So some of the lessons learned that, as far as consumer trust and safety and our relationship with food safety is an ongoing process. It's not a fix. Right now we're dealing with the bird flu and all the eggs. This is like what, the second time in several years. I have never heard this on a global level in the United States until recently, where I don't eat no meat. All I eat is eggs. And it's really scary to go buy eggs from the grocery store. But what's really crazy is these eggs are $13, $14 for a dozen of eggs. So, basically every few years we're having this process, it seems like. And then the people who actually have eggs that are natural, they sell them from their farm, they're charging an arm and a leg too, just because of the demand. So, or people are buying up all of the eggs, so they have to say a limit of one or a limit of two just so that you can get some. So I looked on Sam's Club website the other day, and all of their eggs were out of stock, everything. I went to Publix that same day, and their eggs were $11, $12. I went to Aldi's, and their eggs were $5, the same price they always been, but limit of two. But that was last week. No, each week you go in there, it's a different situation. So until this bird flu is gone, people are struggling. That's another recall. People are getting sick, you know. So then the other thing is about the FDA, they're more in tune with making sure that the labels are proper versus what's inside of the ingredients. They allow so many things in our food, y'all. Do you know that there are wood fillers? And if you go to the aisle, in the middle of the aisle in the grocery store, the noodles, the cereal, all of that stuff in the middle, a lot of that stuff has wood fillers in it, and they allow a certain percentage by the FDA. They allow this stuff in your food. You're eating this, you're giving it to your children. You wonder why, these kids look like they're 30 and 40 years old, and they're busty and they got body, they got bang boom pow. It's because, or their body, they have a lot of allergies, or they have eczema. You eat all this stuff, and then you get pregnant and you're eating all this stuff, and then your kids come out and then you're giving it to them, and then they're eating it. So basically you're passing on this generation of different eczema and all kinds of allergies and stomach issues and all kinds of stuff that we have stuff going on with our children. So a lot of this food, especially when you have allergies like me, labels, they're not really informative that much. They really are not. They do help when you're looking at the ingredients. But when they start using these words like natural or artificial flavor, you don't know they don't list what the natural or artificial flavor is. Now, they are good for some things. They will tell you what's in there. But when they start being vague, that's when you go, okay, or they say proprietary blend. I would question that. When they say proprietary blend, I would put it down. If it has artificial and it has natural flavor, what is that artificial and natural flavor? These chemicals that are in your food, can you pronounce it? My thought is, if I can't pronounce it, I don't want to eat it. But I know it's hard for us as Americans to get away from a lot of the different foods because that's what we grew up eating. What I'm having an issue is right now, and I'll be honest with y'all, is trusting the process. Trusting and knowing that my butter and my eggs are safe for me to eat. Is really stressful because you don't know. Number one, your food has gone up 3 times. You're paying for toxic stuff or not. So wanting to have more transparency in the food that we're eating, the cars that we're driving, the toys that we're buying our children, the tires that we're putting on our car. Because I remember back in the day when there was a Firestone recall on vehicle and their tires were being shredded. They would drive along and they would just have a blowout. People were dying from that. They were getting hurt from that. So there's all kind of craziness going on as far as these recalls, and it's really on my heart today. And so when we talk about real conversations, we're talking about the issue at hand. What is the issue? Consumer rights, consumer awareness. That's what, these recalls of all the different stuff and us becoming more aware, sharing with your friends, your family, the people at your church. You know what? We need to be more aware about what's going on around us, what these people are giving us and feeding us, what kind of cars that we have out here. What are we driving? Do I know if my car has a recall or not? So there's all these different things that we as consumers need to do better. We need to teach our children. These are things that, as you're teaching your kid how to wash their clothes and cook food and clean their room, you need to talk to them about consumer rights, advocacy, because there's all this stuff out here and I'm allergic to a lot of stuff. So I can talk about this and tell y'all personally my own experience as well as my sister's experience, since she's not here to share with y'all. But I have several people that I know that have allergies, really bad food allergies, and they have, environmental allergies, and they have all this stuff. But I am a perfect example for you of why I am sharing this consumer awareness with you, because it's necessary for you to start really, really stepping back and taking a look at the things that's going on around you. Stop being blind. Stop being just walking in and thinking everything is okay and I trust everything. Or you've gotten so desensitized. You've gotten so desensitized because you see it so much. Oh, here's another recall. Oh, until it affects you or somebody around you. It affects your children. Somebody gets sick. It affects your grandma. She gets sick. Somebody goes in the hospital. Somebody dies. Then it affects you directly. But being a conscious and being proactive just to make sure you know what's going on. And if you figure out, all you got to do is look at the label. If they say that this manufacturer number is this and you go and look at yours, you can take it back to the grocery store that you bought it from. I don't care if you have ate it. If you eaten like half of it, you can still take it back to the grocery store. If it's a recall item, take it back. And I'm going to tell you, Aldi's, if you take it back there, number one, they're going to let you get another one if they have some, like a different product, and they're going to give you your money back. So you're going to end up getting the item for free if they have it, or you can get something else. Say, you know what, I want something else equivalent to the same thing I just bought. They will give, even if you've eaten half of it. You can take it back to Walmart, Publix, wherever, because if it is something that's recalled, and there's a lot of frozen things that are being recalled right now from different places. So go in your refrigerator and go look at the items that you have, and go look up. You can go to the USDA. You can go to the FDA. There's a lot of different places that you can go to look up manufacturer. But I did put the link in the actual video description. So go there and look at those two websites and go check them out. One for the car and one for food. What happens after these recalls? Is there any accountability? What systems are in place to keep our food safe? That's one of the things I want to know. What are they doing to keep us safe? There's so much political stuff that's going on right now in this world. I want to know, what are they doing to keep us safe? That's what I want to know. All right, so let me tell y'all. The last thing I want to talk about before I get off of here is what to do with the recall products. So I kind of already talked about that, but I didn't talk about the contamination or the illness or the germs that are left behind by that product. So don't just take the product out your refrigerator and go about your business. You need to clean your refrigerator out. You need to clean all around your kitchen to get those contaminants, all those surfaces and drawers and shelves in your refrigerator, and you need to clean them out. If you happen to cook that product, you need to make sure you're washing all of your utensils, your cutting board with hot soapy water. You need to use a little bit of bleach to kill some of that, dilute some of that bleach to sanitize a lot of the stuff that's in your, all of that dishes and cookware and stuff. So especially if something caused you to have an allergen. Like me, I have really bad allergies. And so that's something that I really have to look at, is making sure that whatever is making me have the hives or the allergy, that I either throw it away or I clean it very well. Your pots, your pans, your utensils, your counters, and all of that. So another website that you can actually go to check to see if there's, for recent outbreaks, you can go to the CDC, multi-state foodborne disease outbreak. That's the name of the website. You can go and do a Google search, CDC multi-state foodborne disease outbreak. What is an outbreak? A foodborne outbreak occurs when two or more people get the same illness from the same contaminant or drink. When this outbreak happens, it's when the outbreak happens, it is detected. The public health and regulations officials work quickly to collect as much data as they possibly can so that they can start taking action to prevent more people from getting sick. So this action includes warning the public when there's a clear, concise of information linking to illnesses, to contaminated foods. The federal, state, and local level also will investigate that outbreak depending on how widespread it is. So a lot of these food recalls you'll see, it might have certain states, and you go, oh, well, it's not my state. Well, don't not look at it because it's not your state. That doesn't mean that stuff didn't come from your where you are. Look at the recall as a recall. Don't look at it based off the state. Look at it as a recall on food, and just double check and make sure that you don't have those products and that you don't buy those products. So you can be proactive and check before you go out and purchase it. So if you want to get some alerts on recalls and things like that, you can go to the USDA, Food Safety and Inspection Services, which is a part of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And you can actually sign up to get notifications. And they have all kinds of ways that you can filter the public alerts. You can see all the stuff that's going on right now. There's one here I'm looking. It has to do with, this one is as of the 12th. And it is a issue public alert about frozen, ready to eat meat and poultry due to mislabeling and undeclared allergens. That's one that just happened on February the 12th. I didn't know anything about that one. Another one is about the common sense soap recall on beef tallow. If you don't know what beef tallow is, it's where people render down the actual oils from the beef. They render it down and then they use it in all kinds of creams and they put it in soaps and all kinds of stuff. So that's another one that is a recall. Um, they have DJ Boudin's, which is a sausage linked to foreign um, matter contaminants. So that one's in. That one happened on January 31st. There's another one for Wegmans frozen full cooked chicken nuggets due to material contamination. That was January 27th. So if you go here, it'll say if it's highly classified, it'll say a product contaminant, it'll say public alert. So there's all these different things that are in here. Go in and you can go in and put in your state. You can just put in your state. I'm gonna put in the state of Florida. And there's 108 in Florida recalls. And most of this stuff is meat. I don't eat meat, but there's one for prosciutto. That was from last year. They got one for hickory um, jerk products, ready-made jerk products. There's one for croquette products, some kind of frozen meat, poultry product. So there's all kinds of up. You can go in here and look up all the different things you got going on in your state. So with all that being said, you guys, I just wanted to bring something that was close to my heart. My sister, who passed away in a General Motor vehicle, for her car flew off a bridge, and she died. And the recall was not done until a year plus after she died, but it had been reported for 10 years. And, it really touches my heart that after she died, I really was a massive advocate. I've kind of slacked off, because I was really going at it hard and heavy trying to make them accountable, but I'm just a little person. I'm nobody. And the thing is that they got away with it. And so the thing is, me now as an advocate, a person who wants to share resources, I want to share with you the resource of safercar.gov, or you can go to the website and go look up your vehicle, go look up your tires, go look up things, your family's information, be aware. Also looking up the food. These things don't take any time to do. But the most important part is don't ignore problems that are going on in your household. If you're having a problem with something that you think made you sick or gave you food poisoning, take it back. You can go online and report it. You can report it as a consumer rights. You can go report it. You can report anything. When my sister died, I went on the consumer rights report and I made a complaint. And I also went to the National Highway website and I made a complaint and I talked to people. I went to the news and I had the news that came to my house after my sister died. They came to my house. I did a lot of things on Facebook and talked to people and shared with them. And so this is something that's really close to my heart. These are resources that need to be shared, and we need to continue to keep sharing it. So take this time and let's be proactive as we can. We may not be able to prevent everything, but we need to be more proactive and stop putting our head in the sand and trusting these places that they have our best interests at heart. The only person that has your best interest at heart is you and God. So please take this information, share with your family and your friends. And I will make sure to post the other link and information on my community page, just so you guys have that for the future. But I really do want to thank you all. This is episode 14 of Real Conversation, Real Motivation podcast. And I'm so thankful and grateful that I'm here and that I'm able to share every week, some different things that God put on my heart. So have a wonderful, amazing rest of your night. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you supporting. And please share all over your Facebook, all over your Instagram. Share with everybody. I'm trying to do something positive, something that is helpful to help people find their voice, help people be able to advocate. And so I need your help. I need your help sharing this out. I can't do this alone. This is not something that I can do alone. Just like the people can share all the negative things out there on the web, let's share something positive. So I just love y'all. I appreciate you, and I hope that I see you again next week. So we will be back here next Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope and pray that something I said resonates with you, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. God bless you, and I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day.